Oh man, so it's been a while since you've been to one of these.
Yeah,
What, since Medea Christmas?
yeah, something like that.
Right.
So. What the fuck just happened?
Exactly. Because
Wow.
no matter if you see a lot of these in a row, like I have the last couple years, or if it's been a few years since you'd seen one like you
Well,
will
I saw
still...
like 4 in 1 year, so.
I said this is the second one Tyler Perry movie I've seen this year. Last year there was like Medea Halloween 2. The year before was Medea Halloween. Single Moms Club was thrown in there somewhere. So no matter what it is, no matter how long it's been since you'd seen one, or how many, or how less you have, there will still always be the moment where you come out of the theater and just go, what in the fuck did I just sit through? Because he'll still surprise you.
Oh, my God.
The movie's crazy. It's not as crazy as Acrimony, but I realize that's a really tall order because this movie is still fucking crazy. So when this movie, like a lot of Tyler Perry movies, you see the trailer for it, and you might think one way or another about the trailer. Like maybe you might think, like Acrimony had a fairly decent trailer, honestly, but the insanity that was in that movie was present nowhere in the trailer, and it was a surprise when you went to go see it, which is kind of the case with all of his movies, and it's also the case with this one, because you might think that this movie looks terrible, but when you go see it, you will dislike it for reasons that will be surprising and baffling to you, and are not present in the trailers.
Yeah, the trailer, I'm like, oh God, he's making a comedy. Fuck. It doesn't have Medea. Fuck, I don't know if he knows how to do this. And he doesn't. Because I don't know what that was, but it wasn't a fucking comedy. I don't know how to classify this.
It's a comedy. It's just a bad one. It's just a comedy that's not very funny and also contains the world's worst leading character. I'm not talking about Tiffany Haddish's character. Who's just a supporting character in the film, basically. I mean, she's in the movie a lot until the third act. We'll get to that. But, so, the movie it's about a successful woman who works in New York, lives in a nice apartment, is rich, and she works for an ad agency, and it's one of those, it's one of those movies where the opening scene is her dancing in her apartment, looking in the mirror, going, today is gonna be a good day. Today I am gonna get that promotion. And she doesn't. But, so, then she finds out that her sister is getting out of jail, and it's Tiffany Haddish. It's Tiffany Haddish's character, who is... Boy, is she Tiffany Haddishing the fuck out of this role. It's one of those performances that's like... it's what happens when you have a director there who's not giving the person direction or not reining them in.
So they just let them go.
And they just let them go constantly on and on and on and on, and they leave pretty much all of it in the movie, or more than they should be leaving in it. So it puts it in that category of like The House with Will Ferrell, or Life of the Party with Melissa McCarthy, where there is no direction for certain people. It is just putting them in front of the camera and just letting them go. And really not doing much to edit around it. Like, okay, and a lot of it's sitcom type stuff too. So when Tiffany Haddish, she gets out of jail, she goes to apply for a job over at the coffee shop, and so here's basically the humor in the movie. She's filling out her application, so she goes, you see this part in the trailer where she goes, under 6, I'm gonna write plenty. And that keeps going about 4 more times. Like, position, how about missionary? Or,
I prefer doggy style, but you seem a missionary.
You seem like a missionary person. Comes back to do another one. References, I can't put you as a reference. We haven't actually had sex. I'm not even going to attempt to do a Tiffany Haddish impression, by the way. So it's a lot of that in the movie. My favorite part of the movie was the older couple sitting next to me. I don't know if you heard any of them during this. But oh man, I'm not sure if the dude in there liked it or not, but he was tolerating it. So there was this older black couple sitting next to me. And when it first shows Whoopi Goldberg in the movie, who plays the mom of Tiffany Haddish, and the lead woman, I'm not sure her name, but Whoopi Goldberg's the mom. So, oh, thank God. Whoopi Goldberg is the mom, and when it first shows her, she's talking on the phone to the maker's like, hey, your sister's getting out of jail. You should go pick her up. I'm sorry, I would, but I'm busy doing my own thing here. As she backs away into just a room full of weed. And then the wife sitting next to me is like, what's that? I don't know what that is. And the husband's like, it's weed. And then the one person they were with got up to use the restroom or get popcorn or something, came back, sat back down, did the same thing, like, wait, are all those plants? Husband, weed. It's weed. And then, so when Tiffany Haddish gets out of jail and then finally has a shower and does this whole rant about how clean her vagina is now and says, I'm gonna wax my cooch so clean it's gonna squeak. The guy sitting next to me just... no words. Not that he sat there silently. He literally just said the phrase, no words. And then later when Tiffany Haddish goes to Whoopi Goldberg's place, where Whoopi Goldberg's high off her ass. You see this part in the trailer too. Whoopi Goldberg's high off her ass and is talking to Tiffany Haddish through a window and is just slowly backing away because she's just high as fuck. She's going like, connections breaking up, and Tiffany Haddish is like, but mom, you're not on the phone, we're talking here. Like, no, you're breaking up. You can't stay here, you're breaking up. Guy sitting next to me is just... now that is some tough parenting. I'm like, I fucking love this guy. Some stuff he said in there I can't repeat. But I love that. I could never tell if he was enjoying this. Because like later when the best friend or something is says like, oh yeah, Tiffany Haddish's character, she's downstairs watching your coffee shop. Guy's like, that coffee shop ain't there no more. That was what I got out of this movie. It was just delightful older couple sitting next to me.
I was just having genre whiplash, where it's like, oh, it's a comedy. Oh, it's a bad drama. Oh, it's a bad comedy. Oh, it's a bad drama. Oh, it's a fucking softcore porn out of fucking nowhere.
Oh, that love scene?
Jesus.
With toes curling.
Yeah.
And yeah, just toes curling, sticking up in the air. Ooh, argh. The movie to me didn't have tone whiplash because it felt like it was like, okay, he's doing a rom-com. To me, it had plot whiplash.
Oh yeah, that too.
Because that's the insanity of this movie. Like okay, like yeah, random bits of craziness will happen in this. Like when they go pick up Tiffany Haddish from jail, and it's the first scene with Tiffany Haddish in this movie, and she is just getting fucked in the back of a white Bronco by some crackhead-looking motherfucker.
He keeps saying Wakanda forever.
Wakanda forever, Wakanda forever, with this cigarette hanging out of his mouth, his eyes bugging out, in a wife beater, and she's like, oh, I'll go meet you in the car in a second. And then they both just start beating each other up as they're having sex. I think she starts raping him. She takes him, like, just slams her head in her crotch, like, you're not going anywhere, you eat that sandwich. And this is just going on in the background of the next shot. Whoo! And so that happens. That's a phrase that comes up a lot when you're describing a Tyler Perry movie. So that happened. And so, all right, it starts out, and the trailer kind of did this too, because in the trailer, another plot just started happening halfway into it. And that happens in this movie several times. So it starts out where like, oh, businesswoman, businessy, business stuff. And Tiffany Haddish comes into it and is like causing a ruckus. Oh, what? She's wearing her sister's wedding dress, and her wedding didn't happen. She shouldn't be wearing that. And they start arguing with each other. Tiffany Haddish starts rambling and monologuing because they're just letting her roll, so she monologues about her vagina and fucking several times. She is just all trying to, just suck random people's dick through the movie. But then, the movie becomes an episode of Catfish.
Yeah, it becomes an episode of Catfish, and then it's got the work drama, which is resolved in the third act. It's like, oh yeah, we got to pick up that plot point. We hit it during the montage.
Oh yeah, there is a lot of work drama that's going on in this. In between, she's doing bad at her job because she's finding out that she may be getting catfished by this smooth talker that's talking to her on the phone that they've been communicating for like a year and haven't been seeing each other because he works on an offshore oil rig. And then Tiffany Haddish thinks she's getting catfished, and literally, it becomes an episode of Catfish. The hosts of Catfish show up in this movie to do an episode of Catfish while Tiffany Haddish is trying to fuck the both of them. Like, get your head down in there and that fish. Ah! Whoa, dude. I'm gonna fuck the one with the silver hair, because he looks young and old at the same time.
Just, you know what, man? I'm tired. Like, I get up...
This movie didn't wake you up?
No. Every day during the week, I get up at 5 a.m., I go to work, I get home about 5 p.m. Make my family dinner, put my daughter to bed, I go to bed. The past couple weeks, I've been working on production design for the movie.
Yeah.
I haven't slept. I've got a sore throat. I'm losing my voice. You can kind of hear it. This
was keeping your attention because several times in the movie you kept asking me what is going on in this film.
No, not what is going on. What is this?
What is this movie? Because let's talk about the work drama for a second.
Yeah.
Because she's being put... It's Tyler Perry writing... a person who has a job at an ad agency, so he writes an ad agency about as well as he writes every other occupation in his movies. So it's an ad agency where Missy Pyle puts the main girl, Danica, puts her in charge of coming up with a slogan, I believe, for a perfume that's called The List.
Right.
And
which is another weird theme that they're trying to force on it.
Yeah, randomly. The list of qualities she wants in her soulmate. And so now this perfume is called The List. And they come up with these slogans that, honestly, they come up with a couple that seems like they would work fine for this product. You don't know what's going to be on your, it's things that would be...
The list, are you on it?
Yeah. Stuff like that where it's like, okay, fine, that would work. But then the one that they settle on, which is the big dramatic moment where the main girl recites this that she hears from her love interest in the film. She then says this line to them that Missy Pyle's like, oh my God, perfect, that's the one, you saved this company. And it is such a terrible line. It is such a tongue twister of a slogan that she gives them that I couldn't follow it because it was multiple sentences. It'd be like if the slogan for your freaking perfume just rolled off the tongue like a mouthful of rocks. Yeah. Just a mouthful of rocks in your mouth as you're trying to say this. It was I can't even repeat it. I get tongue-tied saying it once.
Yeah, and it was some fucking existential made up bullshit. Tyler Perry fucking philosophy. This is crap.
Tyler Perry philosophy. I like the sound of that. With the crazy sister showing up, monologuing, waxing poetic about her waxing vagina. This movie is like if Blanche Dubois actually wrote Streetcar Named Desire. That's how crazy this movie is. So the catfishing thing, it sort of wraps up because it ties into it turns out it might be Chris Rock, who's this guy in a wheelchair who shows up with a jerry curl to again just ad-libbing about 5 minutes of improv about eating her out and his lip dick and her vagina, and this goes on forever.
And Chris Rock is listen, let's all be honest. Chris Rock's been in some real garbage.
Uh-huh.
Chris Rock is better than this.
Oh, yeah, he is. He's in it one scene and gets his Jerry curl lit on fire at the end of it.
And someone makes a Michael Jackson joke about it.
Oh, I was waiting for that.
Yeah.
I was surprised it took him that long to drop the Michael Jackson joke about his hair on his Jerry curl on fire. And then, but then it turns out that, she actually wasn't being catfished. This guy exists. And the reason why is because, like, okay, at first Chris Rock says, no, that was me calling you. I was using a voice box to make myself sound like Idris Elba. And then the guy shows up like, oh, that guy actually took my identity and was hacking into my phone. Like, okay, fine. But where this comes in the movie, normally...
It's like 3 months later.
It's several months later, and it's already... after this movie should be over, because this movie, it doesn't have 3 acts. It has at least 5. It has a third act breakup involving the main character and her love interest who runs the coffee shop, who she constantly through this movie treats like utter garbage.
The first time she fucks him, as soon as they're done, she goes, "Can you go home now?
Can you get out?" And like she is constantly just brushing him off and saying like, I don't want to be with, like, they have, like, where normally, like, a movie like this would be structured where, now they're having their moment where they're, they're actually falling for one another, and they sleep together, they have this sex scene, and then she's like, no, I don't want to be with him, he's a recovering alcoholic. And then he happens to still be in the room when she says this, and he's like, okay. So he leaves. And so that's like the third act breakup of this. She's venting and says like, I don't want to be with him because he used to drink. But then they get back together, and they actually do start dating. Like, all right, this movie should be wrapping up. But this movie's like an hour and 50 minutes long. There's about 20 minutes of this movie left. And with the catfishing thing seemingly wrapped up, the third act breakup happens, the third act getting back together happens. I was sitting there like, where else is this movie gonna go? Where else is there to go? But then a fourth act happens, and a fifth act in which the guy who she thought was catfishing her, he turns out to be real. He shows up, they go on a date, she treats the love interest like garbage again, breaks up with him. It has a third act breakup and a fourth act breakup. It's crazy.
Yeah, and then the fucking getting back together thing, which they decide to do. Like, I know they led up to it in an obvious way, but so much shit happened in between. Mm-hmm. So she's singing like a Boys to Men song in the fucking rain outside. This dude owns a fucking coffee shop in New York City. A small coffee shop in New York City. And apparently he also owns a cabin somewhere.
Yeah.
It must be a really good coffee shop.
And you know what? I mean, it's good enough to where he could give her coffee for free all the time, and it was always really, really packed. And I think he might be the best businessman in a Tyler Perry movie, because he is the only character in one of these Tyler Perry movies I've seen where Tiffany Haddish says to him, because Tiffany Haddish is now working there at the register, he owns the coffee shop, and she says like, you need to come with me, we need to stop my sister from getting catfished. And he just stops and goes like, what? No, I got a business to run and you're still on the clock. And she's like, whatever, come with me. I'm like, finally someone talking sense in one of these movies. I actually really liked him. Like, I thought the guy did a pretty good job.
He was fine. Like, he was working with what he had to work with, but he was fine.
Yeah, he had kind of a natural charm and charisma to him. Like, I could see him doing better work than this. When will the snob review this movie? Oh, we had a super chat in there. When will the snob review this movie? Huh?
There's another one we missed.
Yeah, let me see if I can actually... Oh, cool. We can actually click on these now. Yeah. When will the snob review this movie from E. Michael? Depends on what company put this out. I don't know if I do a snob on this. If it's Lionsgate now, because they didn't care too much for the Medea one that I put up not too long ago, and I've been fighting copyright on that. But no, the main guy in this... I liked, and I thought he did a charming enough job, and because I liked him a lot, it made me hate the main character even more, who just constantly treats him like garbage through the whole thing. And I sort of wanted him to end up with Tiffany Haddish. She keeps trying to fuck him through the movie.
Yeah.
When she's talking to him and saying like, here's what you do to get my sister. Here's what you do to get on her good side. And then a second later, she follows that up with trying to suck his dick while he's driving on the highway. Like, what is this movie? And this is right before Tiffany Haddish just kind of drops out of this movie.
Yeah, kind of disappears for a while.
The movie mainly becomes about this love triangle between the main character, coffee shop owner, and dude who on the oil rig. Tiffany Haddish, in the last 2 acts of this 5-act movie, just kind of drifts in and out like she's been written out of a sitcom and occasionally does guest appearances. Oh, but then it comes back at the end when you think the movie is over. It cuts to black. Tiffany Haddish comes on the screen and says, audience, you ain't going nowhere. Did you think this was over yet? And then it's the part you see in the trailer where Tiffany Haddish is beating up the former fiance of the main character at his wedding and leaving in a cape and pile driving him. Why not?
Yeah, no, it's this.
You all right?
No, I'm so tired.
Let's see. Naja says, the main character was batshit insane. I really hated them together. The wedding dress moment sealed it. Wait, which character? Tiffany Haddish's character was insane, and they certainly
I think she's talking about the main Danica.
Oh, well, Danica with the wedding dress. Oh, you mean the fact that she bought the wedding dress for that particular
and screamed
moment?
at Tiffany Haddish for wearing it.
Well, I kind of understood that. Like, that was early enough in the movie. I was like, okay, yeah, I understand why she's mad at Tiffany Haddish showing up at her apartment and just randomly coming in with this wedding dress that she bought. And at least there is enough context for Tiffany Haddish being crazy. The rest of it, though, no.
Yeah.
No, it was just Danica, the main character, just being a absolute terror to everybody around her. And
just kind of what a self-centered cunt.
It was like at least Taraji P. Henson in Acrimony was supposed to be crazy, like she was supposed to be psychotic.
Yeah.
This was so bad. This is a terrible remake of the Paul Newman 1994 movie Nobody's Fool. Makes no sense. Barely the same thing happens in them. Well, at least it's another week of you seeing the worst movie that's playing in theaters this weekend.
Such is my life.
Oh, man, I think it was crowded in there, too. Man, all right. Well, I don't know how much else there is. It's not like Acrimony where it's just like a series of unfolding crazy. Well, I mean, it is, but not to where it's like, okay, pull up a chair, story time. Not so much like that, but
like this is just it's a fine example of incompetence at work.
Right. Yeah, and not being able to settle on a tone or a plot or anything like that, and just letting actors just roam loose throughout your movie.
Yeah. And
being too long. It's an hour and 50 minutes long. Loki says, any chance you'll screen Batman Mask of the Phantasm? That's coming up. They're doing a Fathom event of Batman Mask of the Phantasm, but it's the day they're doing it is one of the days we're going to be shooting the movie. So I don't know if I'll be able to see that, unfortunately. I mean, you might.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I'm just doing pre-production. I'm not going to be there while you're filming it, so fuck it, maybe I'll go to the movie.
I have to be there. I'm the lead.
Well, that's what you get for writing a movie starring yourself.
Son of a bitch!
The fucking ego comes back to bite you, buddy.
Can't someone else play the cinema snob? I mean, I've only been playing it 11 some years. Someone else can take over.
Well, what's Irving doing?
Yeah, he can do it.
Yeah.
All right. So, and yeah, I mean, speaking of that, I don't know what comes out next week, but I don't know if we'll be able to get around to seeing it because there's going to be some stuff we'll probably just have to make up.
Yeah, next week's going to be an off week probably, but
Yeah, so I'll have to throw up some stuff from the archives probably, but all right, chat. The Grinch is next week. Oh man, I'm gonna be late seeing that. Ugh. Actually, I am sad. I'm gonna be a little late seeing Widows. I do really want to see that.
I do too.
All right, everyone. Thanks a bunch in the chat for watching. Take care.